There are moments in life when everything feels heavy, when fear is louder than hope and the future looks uncertain. In those moments, we search for answers outside, but what if the real change begins inside our own mind? This is a simple story about an old woman, a worried mother, and a lesson so powerful that it quietly changed an entire village. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by fields and dusty roads, there lived an old woman known by everyone for her gentle smile. Her hair was silver, her back slightly bent with age, and her face carried the soft wrinkles of a long, difficult life. Yet her eyes were bright, calm, and full of kindness. No matter how hard life became, she always seemed peaceful. She lived alone in a small house near a large banyan tree. Her husband had passed away many years ago, and she had no children. Still, she never complained. Every day she sat beneath the tree, listening to people's worries, offering a few warm words, and smiling as if she carried no burdens of her own. Life in the village was not easy. The farmers depended on the rain, the shopkeepers struggled to earn enough, and sickness often kept people from working. Worry and sadness were common, but the old woman remained steady, like the banyan tree beside her home. One day, a young woman named Radha came to her in tears. Her hands trembled as she spoke. She said her husband had gone to the city to find work but had not sent any money or news. Her children were hungry, and fear filled her heart. The old woman looked at Radha with gentle eyes and asked her to sit down. She listened quietly and then asked, "What do you believe will happen?" Radha wiped her tears and said she felt certain that something bad was coming. She feared her husband would fail or forget them. The old woman shook her head softly and said that when the mind is filled with dark thoughts, the heart becomes heavy. But when the mind holds hopeful thoughts, the heart finds strength. Radha asked how she could think positively when her life felt so broken. The old woman smiled and said she would tell her a story. She spoke of a poor man who had lost everything. With no food, no family, and no money, he sat by a river crying. An old woman approached him and asked why he was so sad. He told her he had nothing and could never be happy. The woman pointed to the flowing river, the tall trees, and the warm sun above them. She told him that if he only focused on what he lacked, he would remain unhappy forever, but if he noticed what he still had, his heart would find peace. The man slowly stopped crying. He looked around and saw the beauty he had ignored. From that moment, his life began to change, not because of magic, but because his thinking had changed. The old woman looked at Radha and told her that life does not change overnight, but strength comes when the mind changes first. She told Radha to wake up each morning and say that the day would be good, to work with hope, and to trust that better days would come. Radha listened carefully. She left the old woman's home feeling lighter than before. Each morning she repeated those hopeful words. She worked hard, cared for her children, and waited with patience. Weeks later, a letter arrived. Her husband had found work in the city and was sending money home. Radha's eyes filled with tears of joy. She rushed back to the old woman to share the news. The old woman smiled gently and said that problems never disappear completely, but when faced with hope, they become easier to overcome. Soon, people from all around the village came to her, sharing their worries and learning the same lesson. Through simple words and quiet wisdom, she taught them that when the mind learns to hope, life slowly begins to change.